Good evening, my friends. Today, I want to share from Romans chapter 3, and I've been thinking about the law, and it was interesting because tonight we were talking about the law and Torah. It actually it means instruction, um, and it's interesting to me that the law in Galatians says the law was a schoolmaster to lead us to Christ. But does that mean that we're free from any type of law, like not there's no instructions that we're supposed to follow? um and I thought about this passage right here in Romans 3. It says, where is boasting then? Because righteousness is in through faith in Jesus Christ alone, and God has set him forth as a propitiation. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? No, but by the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one God, which shall justify the circumcision by faith, and the uncircumcision through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So what's important to me to understand is that the law of faith, he's saying being circumcised, being a Jew, being all those things, that wasn't what made them righteous. Because the flaw of the law was this. It was the Pharisees. They were able to keep the law, but they were desperately wicked men. Okay? Like when it's just about the law, like if you cross all your T's and dot all your I's and you can follow a certain program, men are able to do that, but that doesn't affect their heart. So the law of faith, it brings out what's within you, and it focuses on the inward man. That's why Jesus is always like, you do this and this and this. He's talking to the Pharisees, but on the inside you are ravening wolves, or you're a whitewashed tomb, so it's important to understand that when we're being freed from the law, we're being freed from these instructions that you can follow to make you righteous, and that make you a good person. But if you do this, this, and this, and this, if you sacrifice and you do this and you sacrifice, you know what I mean? Like the set of instructions that the Jews had, the 600 and whatever laws they had, if they kept all of those, it still didn't make them righteous, because it didn't have anything to do with what was going on inside their heart. Okay? But the law of faith, is coming from within you. It's a hope, and it's a belief, and it's about who you are as a person. You know what I mean? But it doesn't free us from having an obligation to keep instruction, or to keep the law, not the law that was given to the Jews. Okay? It is the law that, like the 10 Commandments, and whatever Jesus said. That's why it says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. We establish the law in the sense that we have this law of faith, and we know that faith without works is dead. Okay? James, it says that. But what he's saying is that, and Jesus, it's faith without works is dead. It's the same as Jesus says, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do the things that I say? Okay? If you believe that Jesus is who he is, then you will do what he says. It's just, that's the principle. This is the foundation that has to be laid. This is the law. Okay? The law of faith is the law of practicing what the person you put your faith in teaches. Okay? We have to practice what Jesus taught. we have to practice loving our enemies. We have to practice loving those who persecute us. We have to practice giving and showing love, loving our neighbor as ourselves. We have to practice these things. We have to practice not looking at a woman adultery. Like, that's why it says all the law and the commandments is summed up in this one word: love your neighbor as yourself. If you love your neighbor, you're not going to look at them, look at their wife lustfully. You're not going to look at a woman lustfully if you love her as your neighbor, because you would know that that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? And if she, wants you to look at her lustfully, then you would have to say, okay, is this a Christian woman? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you obviously you have to look at a woman lustfully at some point, because you're gonna have to get married. But is it in that, in the confine, in that right context of whatever? And are you imagining things about her before the set time? I'm not trying to make it too complicated. I'm just trying to say, like, Jesus says, don't look at a woman lustfully. Jesus said, you know what I mean? So this is what I'm trying to say is the law of faith is doing what the person you believe in tells you to do. Okay? Faith without works is dead. And the law of faith is you believe and you have righteousness because you believe. But that righteousness is also completed when you prove your faith by obedience to the one you put your faith in. That's what I'm trying to say. All right? Hope you get that, and hope I make sense. God bless.